because Steph made 13 of 14 free throws against the Lakers Thursday. 0 for 0. What a day, right? LeBron doesn't attempt a free throw, and Curry doesn't go to the line, which is crazy. So I started thinking about this, and you guys know that there is this era issue in the NBA. The old guys think, oh, these young guys, they can't play in our era with the hand check rules and the toughness. This nonsense. We'll get to it a little later. Saving it for later. But it's interesting because if you guys, the older generation will remember, there was a book called The Jordan Rules by the great Sam Smith, and it talks about how the Pistons roughed up Michael Jordan. It's undeniable. They just clogged the lane, and anytime Jordan would come in there, boom, Mahorn, Rodman, Lambeer, they would all jack him up. And famously, there's video out there of Jordan saying, I wasn't strong enough. I had to go in the gym. And then, of course, they cut to a gym video of Michael lifting weights, had to get stronger. This is more Jordan hagiography, where they're just creating a narrative that is kind of like a half-truth. Yes, the Jordan rules existed. Yes, the Pistons roughed up Jordan. But it wasn't about him weightlifting to get better. It was more about the Pistons getting old. They went to the finals 3 years in a row. They broke down, and that's when the Bulls finally swept them. It wasn't Michael Jordan getting stronger. It was Phil's triangle offense. Phil and Tex Winter, sorry. Triangle offense working. It wasn't just Michael Jordan getting tougher. This isn't about Steph Curry not being tough enough to hang with the physicality of the Rockets. And by the way, Curry and Ime Udoka, the Rockets coach, exchanged some words. Curry wanted foul calls. Udoka was basically like, shut the hell up, stop whining. And of course, Curry's not going to take that, especially in his home arena. And I don't think it's a toughness thing. I don't think there's a blueprint for how to stop Steph Curry. We know this. He's the greatest shooter in NBA history. We know this. When he's running off 7 screens on one possession, and that kind of thing happens, it's going to free up Podziemski and Kuminga and these other guys for threes. Guess what? They didn't make their shots yesterday. Against the Lakers, Pods was 8 of 10 from 3. He can't duplicate that in the playoffs. He's not doing that. 8 of 10 was a one-off.
Okay, guys, we're just having the wrong conversation here. Oh, gosh. First off, it wasn't a one-off, okay? He's been developing and growing as a player, so stop. It wasn't a one-off, okay? Let's get that out of the way. But it wasn't about even the other Warriors missing, not making their shots, etc., etc. You want to talk about a one-off? Steph Curry scoring 3 points, going 1 for 10, 4 turnovers in 33 minutes. That's a one-off, okay? That's a one-off. It was just one of those games. I talk about this all the time on this channel, to the point where I'm almost like, people are going to get mad at me. But this is a perfect example why. I literally just talked about this a few days ago. How when we look at games in a singular game, that's why, everybody was trying to build up the Lakers-Warriors game and like, what is it going to tell us? What does it tell us afterwards? And I'm like, listen, in a single game, it can only tell us so much. And I was like, I'll give the advantage to the Lakers, for instance, or really any team over the Warriors in a single game, in just a single game, winner takes all. Because the Warriors are obviously, and they've always been, so reliant on shooting, which again is fine. But you just have no idea what the basketball gods are going to do. And, it wasn't just because of superior physical defense by the Rockets why Steph, was 1 for 10. If that was the case, then they would do that for Steph all his entire career. And obviously not, okay? If it was that big, if it was that easy, then LeBron James would just play tough, physical, hard defense on Steph. So we know that's not the case, all right? These things happen in basketball. It's something that, nobody ever really wants to talk about in the media, I guess, because they're afraid that, it kind of just exposes the randomness of the NBA. And then because there's so many games, we have to pretend like every single game means everything. And it's like, it just doesn't. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit that. We have to find the meaning in a lot of these games. And we have to try to find what we can kind of conclude from some of these games. But we don't have to go too far with it to the point where we're just kind of making something out of nothing. That's when it becomes a bridge too far. A Golden Gate too far. But with Steph, again, a game like this really largely tells me, and even this question, is the Warriors' offense too reliant on Curry? Guys, this is the NBA. The offense is always too reliant on their stars, okay? Forever. The Warriors have always been too reliant on Steph. the Cavs, the Heat, whoever, are always too reliant on LeBron James, on Damian Lillard, on Embiid, Jokic. I mean, it always is. Obviously, other players can step up at certain times, but when push comes to shove, everything goes through that number one, that star. That's why in the NBA, and it always annoys me, they're always like, well, whose team is this? Whose team is this? And it's like, just, then they're like, oh, well, this team is too reliant on this player. Well, you just tried to make it a war between whose team this is, and now you want to be like, oh, well, this team's too reliant on so-and-so. Yes, I understand that you still have a number 2, number 3, and sometimes those players ball, like, again, for the Warriors in the past, Klay Thompson, KD, etc. I know that, obviously. I know that. But when it all comes down to it, we know where the team is running through. Even with the Miami Heat, it was LeBron James. Yes, I know Bosh existed. I know Wade existed. But they were obviously still heavily, heavily, heavily reliant on LeBron James. That's obvious. That's obvious. Yes, the Bulls had Scottie Pippen and Steve Kerr, and yeah, but it was still all run through Michael Jordan. This isn't controversial. So to even ask this question, is Warriors offense too reliant on Curry? It's called the NBA. It's called the NBA. And, are they reliant on the fact that they can't win games if Steph only scores 3 points? Yes. Then they are too reliant. I mean, it's very rare in basketball for your star player, for your number one player on offense to be able to score like 3 points and for you to be able to win games. The fact that it was even remotely a game, and scores obviously at the end can always be a bit misleading, but the fact that it was even remotely a game within even range with Steph only scoring 3 points is actually a positive. And the fact that they were, pretty cold. It's this was a team that just went cold. Their starting lineup, 13 points, 3 points, 3 points, 19 points. And Pods played pretty well. And obviously Hield stepped up. But you do need more from Jimmy Butler. You just need him to also even just take more shots. But I would say that the Warriors, because of their offense, because of how they run things, if Steph Curry is cold, if he is going 1 for 10, 1 for 8, it becomes more of a confusing way to play for the players around him, especially for someone like Jimmy Butler who hasn't been over at the Warriors, obviously, for a long time. It's kind of like, well, what do we do here? Do we just keep letting Steph shoot his way out of this? Or is this, and this is where classically, like, Klay Thompson would step up, even like an Andre Iguodala. Like, this is where, when you have the continuity of the team, they kind of just, like, know what needs to be done. Like, when the game like this happens for Steph, like, this is when it, like, clicks for Klay to be like, all right, like, this is a me game now. If we're going to win this game, it's because, like, I'm going to be balling right now. And I would say some of these younger players, youngish players, Moody, Pods, or the players that haven't just been with Steph for a while, Butler, they're kind of just like, well, I'm not sure what to do in this situation here. Steph is obviously our focal point. He's missing his shots. How do we get past this? How do we navigate this situation? So in a way, it's kind of a positive that this happened. It's unfortunate timing, but when you're shooting as brilliant as Steph has been shooting, it's the law of averages. Again, I talk about this all the time. It's a law of averages, and I reference this so many times where I'm like, you never know if Steph's going to go, 8 for 12 or 1 for 8. And I literally said that last week in multiple videos, and here he does. He has a 1 for 8 game. It's just how it is. Which is why when you are a bigger, stronger, more physical player like LeBron, that game can be more reliable because you're not relying on the basketball gods of shooting threes. You're just getting to the rim. You're the only thing you're really relying on are the refs going to call the fouls or not. So, but I love how the Rockets are starting to feel themselves. Coach getting involved, trying to like talk trash to Steph. Bunch of, gosh, it when you've achieved nothing and you still talk trash to someone who's achieved everything, man, you just look like such a fool to me. You really do. Sometimes it's okay just to say nothing. Sometimes it's okay to understand. Maybe I'm winning this moment, but this person has won at life, and there's nothing I can say or do to top that. So maybe I just let this go. But just imagine trying to like talk trash or throw hate towards Steph. Just clown behavior, honestly. Clown behavior. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Steph Curry and the Warriors? Do you think the offense is too reliant on Steph? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.